Hey everybody, this is my video on obviousness and anticipation. So the question as to how to ascertain obviousness is quite difficult, but the standard embodied in the industry is if someone who has ordinary skill in the art deems it to be quite clear or an industry standard, then it isn't complicated enough to warrant a patent. Now the question becomes who has ordinary skill in the art, so then it depends who you're talking about. So if the invention is regards, let's say, to nuclear physics, then the person with ordinary skill in the art would maybe be someone with a bachelor's degree in nuclear engineering. Nobody, not the best guy ever. But if the invention were, let's say, in regards to ice cream cones, then the person with ordinary skill in the art could be a 5-year-old. So furthermore, not only is the basis of not being obvious enough to receive a patent, but there can be no prior art of the invention at all, which means there can be no diagrams or descriptions detailing your idea in its entirety. So the concept of anticipation comes into play when there's already a patent that can be viewed as the obvious predecessor of your own idea. So this basically means that if your patent is found as an obvious extension of another patent by a person of ordinary skill in the art, then your patent is not unique enough to be granted. In relation to sleeve technology, there's been quite a few surprising and drastic innovations on something seemingly super simple. So for instance, the first few iterations of the design of the sleeve cup were quite similar and perhaps could have been argued for being anticipatory given the previous patents. However, I believe that a frame of perspective has to be placed on what item we're actually talking about when determining the degree of innovation possible. So for instance, if we were talking about computer hardware, one variation on a super small component would probably not be justifiable for a whole new patent unless that change made a significant performance improvement. However, a patentable change on this level in some regards would have to be a completely different way of approaching the same problem, or a very significant change, something very significant that you changed. It'd have to be something that changed the system itself. But if we're just talking about the sleeve, there is really no grander system. It's just the sleeve. So, and that's what I was kind of meaning when I was talking about a frame perspective. So when trying to innovate on a very narrow field, such as keeping someone's hand insulated from the heat, there does not seem to be much room for groundbreaking innovation as much as in the other areas. There is still, but not as much. I found exceptionally interesting the use of the temperature reading technology, for it provides insight into the temperature of the liquid, which I've burned my lips on quite a few times. However, something as simple as just hot water in a cup, led to all this variety of innovation. Something that I think is really cool. So thank you for listening.